Welcome to the Scenario Podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So today we're tackling something huge, really core to modern life, right? Information overload.
Absolutely. It's everywhere. You can't escape it.
And the key, maybe the overlooked key, seems to be your working memory.
Yes, exactly. It's that engine room for what you're thinking about right now. You might not even notice it's working until it fails you. But if your working memory isn't strong, things like following directions or holding on to information during a long meeting.
Or even just trying to do mental math.
Right, or tracking a budget in your head. It all becomes incredibly difficult. It's what lets you hold information and work with it simultaneously.
Okay, I like that distinction. It's not just a storage bin like long-term memory. It's active. It's processing.
Precisely.
So like if you're trying to figure out an algebra problem without writing it down, or maybe you're listening to instructions and rearranging them in your mind, that's it.
That's working memory in action.
Yeah.
Think of it like your brain's temporary operating system. It's the mental notepad. And when that system runs slow or gets jammed up with too much stuff, well, everything else starts to suffer. You're learning how organized you are, making decisions.
Okay, so our mission today feels pretty clear. We've gone through a ton of sources on this, on cognitive improvement, and we really need to pull out the practical science-backed strategies that actually work for sharpening this skill.
Yeah.
Because the big takeaway, it seems, is that there's no single magic bullet. It's got to be a whole approach.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And maybe counterintuitively, the best place to start isn't necessarily with like brain games.
Oh.
It's about optimizing the physical machine first, your body, your brain's physical health.
Yeah, I was really struck by that in the sources, how much weight they put on just simple daily habits being the absolute foundation for better brain performance. So let's start there. Fueling the machine. We always hear, eat healthy, but what does that actually mean for memory? What specific foods keep popping up?
Okay, so think about diet in two ways here. Protecting the brain cells and helping them talk to each other.
Protection and communication. Got it.
For protection, you need antioxidants.
Right.
Lots of them. They fight off oxidative stress, kind of wears down brain tissue. And the best sources, dark berries, blueberries, blackberries.
Okay, the colorful ones.
Exactly. And then for communication, that's where healthy fats are crucial.
Ah, the omega-3s people talk about.
Yes, specifically omega-3s. You find those in fatty fish like salmon. These fats are literally building blocks for the membranes around your brain cells, your neurons.
So better membranes mean?
Better, faster, clearer signals between neurons. If you want efficient thinking, you need good quality fats. We also see things like leafy greens, nuts, walnuts, especially mentioned a lot. They provide vitamins, minerals, especially vitamin E, which is another key brain protector.
So it's less about just avoiding junk food and more about actively giving the brain the materials it needs to repair and connect.
Precisely. Proactive fueling.
Okay, beyond diet, let's talk about moving. We all know exercise is good for us, but what's the specific biological connection to working memory? How does it actually help?
Right. This part is really fascinating. It's not just about general blood flow, though that helps. Aerobic exercise actually stimulates the release of a specific protein called BDNF.
BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Sounds important.
It really is. You can think of BDNF as like high-quality fertilizer for your brain.
Okay.
It literally encourages new neurons to grow and strengthens the connections you already have. And studies actually link regular aerobic activity, walking, cycling, swimming, dancing, to measurable growth in the hippocampus.
Hippocampus, the memory center.
The primary memory region, yeah. So the benefits aren't vague psychological effects. Exercise is physically building a better brain structure for memory.
Wow. That definitely reframes exercise. It's not just about fitness, it's cognitive enhancement. And the third piece of this physical foundation, sleep. We hear it all the time, 7 to 9 hours. What actually happens to our working memory if we consistently skimp on sleep?
Well, you basically lose the crucial consolidation phase. See, working memory is pretty fragile. During deep sleep, your brain works to organize all the information it took in during the day. It sorts it, makes sense of it, and starts moving important stuff into long-term storage.
So it's like cleaning up the mental notepad overnight.
Exactly. If you don't get enough quality sleep, that notepad never really gets cleared. The information stays jumbled, less accessible, and you start the next day with a system that's already kind of cluttered and inefficient. A consistent routine helps maximize that cleanup process.
Makes sense. Okay, so if we've fueled the machine right, gotten it moving, let it rest, then what? What are the best ways to actively exercise the working memory itself?
Right. Now we shift from maintenance to active engagement, doing things that specifically force your brain to hold information and manipulate it at the same time.
So we're not just talking rote memorization here.
No, definitely not. We're talking about things that require strategy.
Like games.
Exactly. Strategy games are fantastic. Think chess, Sudoku, even some complex video games. They force you to look ahead, hold different rules and possibilities in your mind all at once. That directly challenges your working memory's capacity and speed.
Okay. The sources also mention just staying engaged, socially, intellectually, learning new things. How does that help?
Well, think about learning a new language, or picking up a musical instrument, or even a complex craft like knitting or coding.
Yeah.
All those activities demand sustained attention. They force you to constantly retrieve new information, apply new rules, connect ideas. This strengthens attention control and stimulates neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. Every time you successfully recall and use a new skill or word, you're reinforcing those pathways.
That makes a lot of sense. But here's a practical issue many people face, especially our learner audience. Sometimes the problem isn't the brain's capacity, it's just getting overwhelmed. Information overload. Your working memory just crashes.
Ah, yes, the cognitive overload problem. Very real.
What strategies actually work to manage that, to reduce the load?
This is super important, and it goes beyond just study tips. We need to think about chunking information and using external aids.
Chunking, like breaking things down.
Exactly. Your working memory can realistically only juggle about, say, 4 pieces of information effectively at one time. If you try to cram in more, it spills over. So if you take a complex task or a dense piece of text and break it down into smaller, meaningful chunks, you make it manageable.
So using bullet points or checklists isn't just about being neat.
No, it's a cognitive strategy. You're applying chunking. You're also offloading the information. Underlining key points, crossing out irrelevant sentences, using lists, you're essentially moving some of the processing demand out of your head and onto the paper or screen.
You're filtering the noise?
Precisely. You let your working memory focus on the important stuff, the signal, not get bogged down by the noise. This frees up that limited processing space for actually thinking and solving the problem.
Okay, one more on freeing up mental energy. Routines. Our sources mention creating routines can help, but doesn't setting up a new routine take a lot of working memory effort itself?
That's a great point. Yes, initially, it absolutely does.
Right, you have to constantly think about it.
You have to consciously monitor yourself, remember the steps, make the effort. It's high load at first, but once that routine, like packing your bag the same way every night or having a set morning sequence, becomes automatic.
It doesn't require conscious thought anymore.
Exactly. It moves out of the effortful working memory system and becomes handled by more automatic processes in the brain. The long-term benefit is significant conservation of your mental energy. That frees up your working memory for the things that really need it, the novel problems, the complex decisions.
I see. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's talk about managing internal interference. Things like stress and focus. This brings us to mindfulness.
Yes, mindfulness is key because stress is incredibly detrimental to memory. When you're chronically stressed, your body pumps out cortisol.
And cortisol. How does that specifically mess with working memory?
Well, it's quite damaging, actually. Sustained high levels of cortisol interfere directly with the brain structures vital for memory and learning, especially the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. Research suggests it can actually prune back the connections between neurons, the dendritic spines in these areas. It physically degrades your brain's ability to process, store, and recall information efficiently.
Wow. So practicing mindfulness, like deep breathing, maybe some mindful coloring, meditation, it's not just about feeling calm.
No, it's much more than that. It's a proactive defense mechanism against the biological damage of stress. By practicing being present, you're training your attentional control, reducing that internal mental chatter that trains your focus. And focus is the gateway to working memory. You need to attend to information to get it into working memory in the first place.
Right, you can't remember what you didn't pay attention to.
Yeah.
Okay, shifting from internal focus to external interaction. What about collaboration? Why is working with others often better for memory than just studying alone?
It comes down to active retrieval and manipulation. when you're in a group discussion or trying to explain a concept to someone else, or even debating a point.
You have to pull the information out.
Yes, you're forced to retrieve it, organize it in your own words, articulate it, maybe defend it, compare it to others' ideas. This active processing, this mental juggling required to communicate effectively is far more powerful for embedding information in memory than passively rereading notes. That forced retrieval really solidifies the memory trace.
Okay, makes sense. All right, let's tackle some common beliefs, maybe some myths. First up, the holy grail of productivity for some, multitasking. Does it actually help you perform better or faster?
Oh boy. Okay, straight answer. No. Multitasking, as we usually think of it, is basically a myth when it comes to efficiency and working memory.
Really?
Yeah. What we're actually doing is rapidly switching our attention between tasks. Context switching. And every single time you switch, you check an email while writing a report, then switch back. Your brain pays a price.
A cognitive cost.
Exactly. It takes effort to disengage from one task, load the relevant information for the new task into your working memory, and then get going. The result: you're slower overall, you make more errors, and your recall for both tasks suffers. The science is pretty clear. Focus on one thing at a time. Monotasking is far superior for performance that relies on working memory.
Focus smarter, not wider. Okay, what about supplements? The magic pills for memory. Do things like Ginkgo or B vitamins reliably boost working memory?
This is another area where the evidence requires caution. It's nuanced.
How so?
Well, basic nutritional support is important. If you have a genuine deficiency in, say, vitamin B12 or vitamin D, correcting that will support overall brain health, which underpins working memory. Omega-3s, as we discussed, are also foundational.
But the specific memory-boosting herbs like Ginkgo Biloba.
The results there are really mixed. Some studies show small effects, others show none. There's often inconsistency, and it's hard to find conclusive evidence for a direct, significant boost to working memory function in healthy individuals. At the end of the day, that balanced, nutrient-rich diet we talked about earlier, that's still overwhelmingly the best nutritional strategy for your brain. Yeah. Far more reliable than isolated supplements.
Got it. Diet first. Okay, that leads us nicely into our final section, brain training apps. They're everywhere. They promise amazing cognitive gains. What does the actual science say? Are they effective?
Ah, yes, the brain training industry. It's huge. But here we need to understand a really important concept from cognitive science. Near transfer versus far transfer.
Near versus far transfer. Okay, break that down.
Let's use an analogy. Imagine you practice typing really, really fast, but only using one specific, unusual keyboard layout. You'll get incredibly good and fast at typing on that specific keyboard.
Right, that makes sense.
That improvement is near transfer. The skill you gain stays very close, very specific to the task you practiced.
Okay, so how does this apply to brain apps?
Well, studies generally show that if you play a specific memory game on an app, you will get better at that specific game. That's near transfer happening. You practice the task, you improve on the task.
But the big question is, does getting good at that one game actually help you in other areas of life? Does it have far transfer?
Exactly. Does improving your score on that app game make you better at, say, remembering names at a party, or planning a complex project at work, or learning new material for a course? These are different real-world tasks that also rely on working memory.
And does it? What's the verdict from the sources?
The evidence for significant far transfer from current brain training apps is, well, it's very limited. Disappointingly so for many people. There's just not much solid, reliable data showing that practicing these specific, often quite artificial tasks leads to broad improvements in general cognitive abilities like overall intelligence or your working memory function across diverse everyday situations.
So they aren't quite the magic cognitive workout they're often marketed as?
They probably shouldn't be seen as a standalone fix, no. They might be engaging, maybe provide some specific skill practice, but they absolutely don't replace the foundational strategies we've been talking about, the healthy lifestyle, the effective learning techniques, managing cognitive load, mindfulness.
So maybe use them as one small part of a bigger picture, but don't rely on them as the main thing.
That seems to be the most reasonable conclusion based on the current science. More research, especially long-term studies, is definitely needed. But for now, they are best viewed as a supplement, not a solution.
Okay. Wow, this has been a really comprehensive deep dive. It feels like the main message is that improving working memory isn't about finding one trick, but about building a whole system of support.
That's absolutely it.
And it's possible to boost this capacity at any age, really, but you need to combine these different elements we've discussed.
Yes. The consistent theme across all the research points to a holistic strategy. You need the physiological foundation, good food, regular movement, quality sleep. Then you need the targeted cognitive engagement, challenging your brain strategically, learning new things, and you need the smart management strategies, reducing overload, practicing mindfulness, using effective learning methods.
So let's leave our listeners with a final thought. Improving your working memory. It's not just about, remembering shopping lists or phone numbers more easily, though that's nice.
Right. There's a bigger picture.
When you actively work on sharpening this mental notepad, when you free up that processing space by using these strategies, you're essentially increasing your overall mental bandwidth. And that expanded capacity doesn't just help with memory recall. It seems to boost your fluid intelligence, your ability to think flexibly, reason, and solve novel problems.
It allows for deeper thinking, more creativity, more effective learning in the long run.
So the real reward isn't just managing today's tasks better. It's building a sharper, more agile mind that's better equipped to handle whatever complex challenges tomorrow throws your way. Thanks for diving deep with us.
Thanks for tuning in to the Scenario Podcast. Don't forget to visit scenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.